All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Module 3. Uh, I'm getting over a cold, so I'm a little stuffy. Hope I don't sound too funny. Um, Feel fine, but I'll sound funny. So this week we're working on the skill of close reading. So we have content to talk about. We're also working on a certain kind of skill that's important when it comes to philosophy and the humanities in general. And close reading is what it sounds like. It's taking the time to really pay attention to the text. So one of the ideas of this course is the importance of conversation, and hopefully you've enjoyed that already, and you've experienced the impact of that and can see the importance of that. Um, and that is a skill too of just finding the words for how we think about certain things and sharing that with others and listening to what they have to say. But part of what's exciting about the humanities, about literature, philosophy, plays, movies, is that they are a kind of conversation partner in themselves. They bring things to the conversation that we might not think about otherwise. And in this case, we like to think, people who teach courses like this, that there are better and worse conversation partners out there when it comes to thinking about these kinds of things. In other words, we're looking for literature, philosophy that has important things to add to a conversation on a topic. Hopefully, you felt that, experienced that with Confucius. What did Confucius add to the conversation about family versus community? Because in the end, if the Confucius text didn't add to that conversation, then what is the point of reading Confucius? So part of the idea of the syllabus is to add significant conversation partners, and you can decide for yourself if something we read is valuable or not. I think what we've collected does add a lot to the conversation. But if you don't pay close attention to what's in the text, if you don't read closely, you might miss what something has to offer. And so close reading is just the ways in which we can pay close attention. So for starters, we're going to look more carefully at a passage in Antigone, in the pages you read, that has come to be known as the Ode to Man. It has become a kind of freestanding poem down through the centuries, so read and appreciated even outside of the context of the play. And we're going to take a closer look at it. But it's good to remember just exactly where it appears in the text. This is in your edition, roughly pages 14 to 16. Well, not roughly, it's on 14 to 16, but roughly the lines 330 to 375. And you should go back. Part of close reading would be to see what just happened before this Ode to Man is spoken. But to set that for you, the Watchman has just reported to Creon that there's evidence that Polynices received some kind of burial rites. And this is exactly what Creon prohibited, right? On pain of death, no burial of Polynices or you will be put to death. So Creon's quite upset. And he demands that the watch find the culprit, or he will consider the watch itself to be somehow responsible. So Creon is out to get somebody punished for violating his edict. So the Watchman exits, and then the chorus takes center stage to deliver this poem. So two things about the chorus and how they deliver it. The chorus itself is one of the innovations of this Greek tragic form, and it was a collection of characters who stood for the community. So a lot of Greek tragedy has a conflict between central characters. So in this case, Antigone and Creon are locked in a conflict, but it's happening in a community, and the chorus is often speaking for the community as a whole. What does the community of Thebes think about this conflict that's happening? It's not just, even though they're family and there's a lot of private grudges going on, it's still a community matter, this conflict. Creon's the king, he's made an edict, et cetera, et cetera. So they are a voice in the conversation of the play, and that's a little bit about the chorus. The other thing is maybe not so important to our close reading, but it's just interesting to me, a little interesting detail that if you're imagining this Greek play, to think of the chorus as a kind of almost like a song and dance moment. It was probably, we don't know a lot of these details for sure, but it was probably more of a singing kind of thing with some kind of movement, stylized movement on the stage. So that's why you have these technical terms in your text, the stasimon and the strophe, I think it's said that way, and antistrophe. So this back and forth movement and this thing being sung. So it's very stylized. So I just thought that would be interesting for you to know. So the Ode to Man itself, we're asking you to work through it in a slower and more paying closer attention on your own or with others in class. And so there's some questions below to guide your investigation. But one thematic note is that this is against the background of our poll question at the end of the last module, this question about whether humans are basically good or basically bad. What are we like? We had to explain this to an outer space visitor. What would we say human beings are like when it comes to how they treat each other and how they are in the world? And that is against the background of the Greek question. So call that to mind. What is the Greek question? How are we going to live if nobody is telling us how to live? So this is the background of the kind of democracy that you found in ancient Athens where this play is being performed. But then if you think about it, to answer the question, how are we going to live if nobody's telling us how to live, kind of suggests that because we have to figure things out for ourselves, we really should think about what it is we are like. If we're going to answer the question together, how should we figure out how to live together? We might reasonably ask, well, what is it that we're basically like? If, for example, we're basically good, that might impact our answers to getting things figured out together. If we think we're basically bad, then there's probably going to be different answers to how we're going to get along. So, Ode to Man is a conversation partner in that question of what we are basically like. And that's, I think, super exciting. What does this chorus in this play written 2,500 years ago want to tell us about who we are? So in the activity that comes next, just slow down, pay close attention to what this text has to say about what the human animal is like. Let it become a conversation partner with us as we consider that question. Because if figuring out how we're going to all get along, if we're going to do that, then knowing what we are like seems like something we have to have some ideas about. And so we should leap at the opportunity for an ancient text like this to help us think about that question. But you need to ask, what is this ancient text saying? And that's what we want you to slow down and take a look at. Good luck.